Kyle Larson is many things. Kyle Larson is the most talented driver in NASCAR by most accounts. Kyle Larson is one of this generation's defining drivers of NASCAR. You will never think of the 2020s without thinking about Kyle Larson. And Kyle Larson is a gunslinger. Now, what's a gunslinger, you might ask? Some of you might not be as familiar. Well, usually it's used as a term in football where a quarterback is incredibly aggressive, and that aggressiveness is their defining trait. Now, the aggressiveness usually can help them win games. They can fire the ball downfield unlike anybody else, and in doing so, make amazing plays and magical moments. But they also can be on the other end of that sword. And the greatest example of this was Brett Favre. He's as well known for his back-breaking interceptions as he is for his miraculous clutch wins. And in my opinion, Kyle Larson in this respect is the Brett Favre of NASCAR right now. He can do amazing things that no other driver can do, and he can make boneheaded mistakes that you would think a rookie wouldn't even make. Larson always will be driving at 100%. He's always somebody who's going to be pushing it to the very edge, and in doing so, a lot of times, will get the win out of it. And it's helped him become incredibly dominant. Since joining Hendrick Motorsports, as of recording this 34 races into the 2023 season, he has started 106 races in the 5-car. He's won 17 of them. He has top 5s in 47 of them, 61 top 10s in this time. He's led 4,343 laps in this time. He has been in the Final Four now, 2 of the 3 seasons he's raced for Hendrick, and he has 17 DNFs. He has as many wins as he does DNFs, 17, meaning 16% of the time that Kyle Larson straps into a Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet, he is as likely to win as he is to wreck out. And he's been in the top 5 almost half of those races, and almost 60% in the top 10. His numbers are nothing short of amazing, and can stack right up to Jimmy Johnson or Jeff Gordon around their times in Hendrick. But that 17 DNF number, that is massive when it comes to a high-level driver like Kyle Larson. It's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of deal. Sometimes his gunslinger mentality is going to get him that win. Other times, it's going to get him the spin. And I think we saw this as early as his second race with Hendrick Motorsports at the Daytona Road Course, where he was in line for a good top 10 finish, his second straight to start out the season, and this happened. But this is the part that I think many people didn't see too much of in 2021. Because 2021 was Kyle Larson maximizing every opportunity. He won 10 races that season, including 4 of the last 5, and clinched up a championship. 2021 was him at his absolute peak. And many were expecting that if it was just that way for the first year, imagine what it could be in the years to come. But what we would see is the full picture of Larson. His aggressive mentality swung the other way around a lot in 2022. The first of these, again in the second race of the season coming at Auto Club. Larson was in contention at the end to run for the win, and he was being as aggressive as ever. It looked like he was honestly gonna be picking up right where he left off. And he did end up winning this race, but in doing so, he did also lose spatial awareness for a bit, and it was his teammate who would pay for it.
Hang on. Stupid motherfucker! Cool, 5. He's a fucking idiot. Fucking broke again. Piece of shit, motherfucker. God damn it! Hey, broke that right rear again.
Now, this was just the start, as there were 2 other major incidents that caused hits and a miss. One of which was a win at Watkins Glen. The other was him going a little too much and pushing up and causing him to be wrecked out at Las Vegas.
And back up through the gears we go. Elliott on the outside, Larson on the inside. They're side by side still. And Larson surging ahead now as they get into one. He outbreaks him, but he slides up the track. as they both slide up the track and opens the door for A.J. Allmendinger.
Battle off of turn 4 here.
And into the wall goes Bubba Wallace. And he comes back across the track, tags the 5. They're both in the wall, and the caution comes out.
Now, like I said, one got him a win, the other got him unnecessarily taken out in revenge at Las Vegas. And this leads to 2023. Larson is not as good as he was in his dominant championship-winning season, but it's clear that the speed is there and he's better than 2022. And the first one I want to look at is Kansas. Many are going to look at how Denny Hamlin got into the back of Larson, pretty much took him out, and went on to win. But many won't look at what caused this. And in my opinion, what caused this, and it was alluded to a bit, is that Larson fired out on the run. He managed to get a big lead, but he used his car up. And on the other hand, Denny Hamlin would save it, run him down, and win the race. And I wouldn't say too much about this if it wasn't for the fact that Kyle Larson had a similar instance happen the year before in the exact same race. Same thing in 2022 with Kurt Busch running him down and getting the win. So that, again, is a smaller scale one, not as explosive, but could take him out of a winning contention car. And then you have the Coke 600, where a restarted 4th was in contention again for the win, and his self-spin would cost him dearly.
His help behind him, Truex. It's not going to quite get clear here. Oh, Larson's around in front of the field. This is going to be big.
Instead of getting easily a top 5, he would get a 30th place finish. And this now leads up to Homestead. At the end of stage 2 at Homestead, after he'd been leading a while, he burned the car and the tires up again, and this put him behind going into the final stage, behind guys like Blaney and other winning contending cars. So when green flag pit stops came up, he needed to make up as much time possible. Now, he says that the 12 slowed up too much for him, but he also really fired it off in trying to make up that time, and in doing so had one of the biggest blunders of the season.
Point, Jeff. He cannot allow the 12 to get a lap. Look at the 5 gain to the rear bumper.
The 5 into the water. The barrier's right at the end of pit road. He slides into him, damage to the right front.
That's going to bring the yellow out. They're going to have to throw the caution to be able to repair those barriers.
Kyle Larson just trying so hard to gain ground on Ryan Blaney. He just misjudged it.
It's badly damaged, his 5 car as well.
Now, the point of showing all of this isn't to go dunk on Kyle Larson. It's not to make Hendrick Motorsports fans upset and troll them, but instead to point out that even as good as Kyle Larson is right now, he still, as a NASCAR driver, needs refining and can get way better, which should scare the competition. If at his best at the moment, without that improvement, he can get 10 wins in a season, imagine what he can do when he gets all of this under control. It reminds me a lot, and many Larson and Hendrick fans won't like this, but it reminds me a lot of Kyle Busch early in his career. And once Kyle Busch got it refined, he became one of the best drivers in NASCAR and dominated to the way that Larson is now. And it could cost him a title, in my opinion. I think the person who put it best was Jordan Bianchi on the Teardown Podcast.
But if Larson is this generational talent and is supposed to be the next Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, is going to be this great NASCAR driver, well, Jimmy and Jeff they made mistakes. Everybody's going to make those, right? But they didn't repeatedly make mistakes and take themselves out of races. They didn't do that. So if Larson is going to ascend to the mantle that we think he's capable of doing, at some point you've got to be able to push that aside and stop doing that. And when is that going to happen? His rookie year was 2014. So this is 10 years now. At some point, you've got to be able to say, yeah, there's times I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to push too hard. But when you do it repeatedly, like he's doing, that's where it gets if he's supposed to be this all-time great, you got to stop that.
So with that, I'm going to pass it on to you and ask, do you think Kyle Larson's gunslinger strength, which is a strength, don't get me wrong, do you think it's also one of his biggest weaknesses? And do you think it's going to cost him a title at some point? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great NASCAR content. Thank you so much for all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.